right, good morning, afternoon. Everybody, welcome to the first, hopefully annual Tell Me a Story event here at the Bonebrake Center of Nature and History. I know most of you guys have been here before, right? At least a few times. And we'll be back again, I'm sure. Whether it's to play in the audience or to work up, to put you to work, whatever. I'll keep you guys around. Everybody tells stories, right? Do you tell stories? When you're at home, you tell stories? No? I bet you do. Did you ever tell Mama and your brothers?
She would sit up there.
Let's tell her a story sometimes, I bet you. I bet. So you tell stories at home? You read books at home? Does Mom read books to you? Yeah, I figured. I bet she does.
Yeah, green eggs and ham is what I heard she likes.
Green eggs and ham, huh? Well, stories, everybody loves stories. And this first Tell Me a Story is really to honor our friend Mother Goose. Miss Libby, right? Libby Sanders? Libby loved books and loved stories and loved music. So that's what this event's going to be about every year. We're going to have all kinds of stories, different ways to tell them, different people telling them. And I think we're going to have a great time. We'll do it on the first Sunday of May every year, as long as we have people coming to enjoy it. And there's a lot of different ways to tell stories, so we'll tell them all these different ways too over time. Stories have been a part of history. Ever since there were people, there have been stories. Do you think the cavemen told stories? Did you ever see pictures they painted on the wall in the caves? Those were stories. Did you ever have Mom tell you a story about the boogeyman? Sometimes the boogeyman, sometimes stories are told to make the kids behave or to teach them something, to keep them safe. We tell stories about, we're going to do something probably this summer about Bigfoot. You know Bigfoot? The stories about Bigfoot. Do you think he's real?
Yes.
I think Mike's probably right. But we're going to go.
Mike's related.
At least it's his cousin, yeah.
Second cousin, quite related.
At least once this summer, we're going to search for Bigfoot and see what happens. So there's good stories with that. Sometimes we tell stories just for fun. And sometimes it's to go out, get us to go out and to observe nature. We tell stories about rocks and trees and all kinds of things. Get us to go outside and look around. Today we have lots and lots of Libby's friends here and lots of really good storytellers. And we're going to start today, we're going to kick it off with Jamin Bray, who's got a very special story song for us. So Jamin, I'll let you introduce your part.
You bet. Thank you, Janet. Welcome, everybody. There are lots of friends here. It's so good to see all of you. Thank you for supporting the Bonebrake Center. This is the first time for you all to be here?
No.
You come here all the time.
We've been here a couple times.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks for coming. All right, raise your hand if you remember coming to Mother Goose stories when you were little and Libby was Mother Goose. I know we have a couple of people. Yeah, right? So we have a lot of folks that say, yeah, I used to come here all the time. So you're going to see and hear a lot of things today in memory of Libby. She was a fantastic storyteller, but she also loved music and loved to tell stories through song. So when we did our dedication to Libby recently after she passed away, one of the ways that people tell stories is through songs, right? And I actually love to write songs, and particularly when something inspires me, and I immediately was inspired by the depth of what Libby has created in our community here, and her gift, her superpower, besides being the kindest person I've ever known in my life, was the gift of telling stories, and she loved to do that through song. So I wrote her a song, and it's called She Told a Good Story, and I'm going to sing that for you now. Swallowed by a boa snake, a blanket on the ground, surrounded by children sound. She told a good story. She told a good story. She told a good story. And that's how she lives on. Mother Goose, a lumbering blues, a puppet in her hand. Sing a song, you can't go wrong with a song from Ireland. She told a good story. She told a good story. She told a good story. And that's how she lives on. She judged no one, this life is done. Her gift was voice and sign. All of us can learn from her, aspire to be kind. Yes, she told a good story. She told a good story. She told a good story. And that's how she lives on. For Libby, in dedication to Mother Goose. Let's have some fun. She would love this. She would love this.
You might have to sing it, wouldn't you?
Very nice song.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Dad.
Sure, you could get him a new car. You could also light a pile of money on fire.
Sorry.
Because as long as Mr. It wasn't my fault takes the wheel on occasion, maintaining this car is your best option. So keep it running longer, stronger, with quality parts and a whole lot of Napa know-how.
Dad, where are you going?
Your grandmother's fine china, those trendy sneakers, your collection of hand-carved duck decoys. Auto Owners protects your home. Because, well, somebody should. That's simple human sense.
Ask Inman Insurance in Rolla and Salem if auto owners make sense for you.
Perfect. The color, the flowers. That's just the whole place is amazing. I love it.
Sophia, whatever happens, we're here to protect you. Thank you.
There's no room for fear in your dream home policy from American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
Relationships. It's not just being on a first-name basis. It's a partnership built on trust. This is Scott Ball, president of the Bank of Salem. Since 1883, the Bank of Salem has been serving our local community with the kind of personal service and professionalism that builds relationships. We've earned the trust of our customers with over a century of strength and stability, never once changing our name or compromising customer service. Stop by one of our 2 locations in Salem. Visit our website, the Bank of Salem, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
what's one of the easiest ways to find a story? The library, read a book, right? Or the little library that we just got out there. So Kate McBride is one of Libby's friends, and she's going to read us one of her favorite stories from a book. I don't trip over a rock.
Hi. I did bring one of my very favorite books. I remember being read this book when I was a child. Still love it as an adult. I think most folks are familiar with it. I'm sorry. I brought one of my favorite books. A book that I was read as a child and a book that I still enjoy sharing. It's The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come and he would gather her leaves. And make them into crowns and play king of the forest. You ever done that? No? He would climb up her trunk. Can you see him? His hands and his feet. And swing from her branches. Can you see him in this picture? See his feet? And eat apples. You see the apples? And they would play hide and go seek. And when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree. Very much. And the tree was happy. But time went by. And the boy grew older. He brought a friend with him to the tree. Do you see that? And the tree was often alone. Then one day the boy came to the tree, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and eat apples and play in my shade and be happy." "I am too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?" "I'm sorry," said the tree. "I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and you will be happy." And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away. And the tree was happy. That's a lot of apples.
It looks like she has all.
You think? He might have. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy. And she said, "Come, boy, climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and be happy." "I am too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm," he said. "I want a wife and I want children, so I need a house. Can you give me a house?" "I have no house," said the tree. "The forest is my house, but you may cut off my branches and build a house. Then you will be happy. And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build his house. It is. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time. And when he came back, the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. "Come, boy," she whispered, "come and play." "I am too old and sad to play," said the boy. "I want a boat that will take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat?" "Cut down my trunk and make a boat," said the tree. "Then you can sail away and be happy." And so the boy cut down her trunk and made a boat and sailed away. And the tree was happy, but not really. After a long time, the boy came back. "I am sorry, boy," said the tree, "but I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone." "My teeth are too weak for apples," said the boy. "My branches are gone," said the tree. "You cannot swing on them." "I am too old to swing on branches," said the boy. "My trunk is gone," said the tree. "You cannot climb." "I am too tired to climb," said the boy. "I am sorry," sighed the tree. "I wish that I could give you something, but I have nothing left. I am just an old stump. I am sorry." "I don't need very much now," said the boy. "Just a quiet place to sit and rest. I am very tired." "Well," said the tree, straightening herself up as much as she could, "well, an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Come, boy, sit down and rest." And the boy did. And the tree was happy. The end.
How'd you like that story? Pretty good one, huh? So Miss Kate had a book that she read from. Is that the only place to find stories? You know where else I can find stories? What's that? Heavy. What is it? It's a big rock. There's stories in this rock. All kinds of, and I bet Joe knows how to read a bunch of these, right?
Yep.
Joe and Eugene could tell us some stories about that rock. And look at that tree back there behind me. You think there's any stories in that tree? That tree could probably tell you what the weather was like when your father was born. And if there was a fire. And if there was lots of sunshine, or if it was really thirsty and didn't get enough rain. There's lots of stories in that tree too. There's stories all around us, everywhere. And there's lots of ways to tell them. You guys like poems? I think Mike has a poem for us, or a story, or a few of each. I don't know which. Let's find out. Mike's gonna, another one of Libby's friends, he's gonna share something with us. We'll see what it is.
Duncan Family Chiropractic provides chiropractic care to everyone from newborn to elderly. Dr. Duncan treats wellness, sports injuries, chronic ear infections, pregnancy, and more. Ask Dr. Duncan about your full line of supplements, including Juice Plus and standard processed supplements, as well as pain relief, BioFreeze products.
If you have the audacity to believe a financial advisor should talk with you, not at you,
If you believe access to your financial advisor should be a right, not a privilege.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and Think Time make a difference.
Join us.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
Call Joe Brand in Salem at 729-3831.
I am a Missouri Farm Bureau insurance agent, and I'm here to talk about life, your dreams, your work, your family, and how you can protect it all with a company that will talk to you with the honesty of a farmer and take care of you with the integrity of a neighbor. I'll make sure no detail is left uncovered so your family can breathe easy. Because just like you, I chose to build a life in Missouri too. I'm a Missouri Farm Bureau insurance agent, and I'm from Missouri for life.
Hi, I'm Susie Cahill, Director of Healthy Dent County Fitness Center. Are you looking for a place to begin your journey to better health? Come inside. Never in my life have I been in another atmosphere where everyone was so friendly and eager to help others. It's not just the staff, it's the members. They're so passionate about what they do and so excited to help you. If you're ready to begin your journey to better health, come by and see us.
This is Mike Elliott from Town & Country Insurance. As an independent agent, we shop many different companies, allowing us to find the best value for our clients. Town & Country Insurance has been serving South Central Missouri since 1963. We have offices in Salem, Rolla, Licking, and Mountain Grove, and would welcome an opportunity to show you what we can do for you. Stop by 400 West Scenic Rivers Boulevard, located inside the Town & Country Bank, or you can call our office at 729-6624.
You never know with my...
Not until 5 minutes ago, neither did I. Actually, I have been having a great deal of fun putting together poetry programs, and I told Janet that they could be interactive, and then I looked through all my poems and I didn't find anything that was interactive in there, and it scared me a little bit because I had already used that big word interactive. But we're starting to get bears around Missouri, and I've become a big Edgar Guest fan. And this is simply a bear story. Oh yes. There was a bear. His name was Jim, and children weren't as scared of him. And he lived in a cave where he was comfortable as could be. And in that cave, so my pa said, Jim always kept a stock of bread and honey so that he could treat the boys and girls along his street. And all that Jim could say is, wolf! And give a grunt that went like, soof. And Paul says when his grunt went off, it sounded just like Grandpa's cough, or like our Jerry when he's mad and growls at peddlers, men that's bad, and while grown-ups were afraid of Jim, kids could do anything with him. And one day a little boy like me that had a sister, Marjorie, was walking through the woods and they heard something woofing down that way. And they were scared and stood stock still and wished they had a gun to kill whatever it was, but little boys don't have no guns that make big noise. And soon the woofing closer grew and the bear came into view, the biggest bear you ever saw. His muff was smaller than his paw. He saw the children and he said, I ain't gonna kill you, Dad. You needn't turn away and run, I'm only scaring you for fun. And then he stood up just like those big bears in circuses and shows and danced a jig and rolled about and said, woof woof, which meant, look out! And turned a somersault as slick as any boy can do the trick. Those children had been told of Jim, and they decided it was him. They stroked his nose when they got brave and followed him into his cave. And Jim asked them if they liked honey. They said they did. Said Jim, that's funny. I've asked 1,000 boys or so that question, and not one said no. What happened then I cannot say, because next I knew it was the light of day. Now, having promised that I would be doing something interactive, I have rolled it around in my head for like a week, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit that I just put it on paper this morning. So everybody that can stand, do. On your feet. Oh, when I woke up, I thought I'd try to stretch enough to reach the sky. Or maybe take my little glass and find out what's hiding in the grass. Or climb a tree. Or find a snake. Or find a brand new path to take. Whatever's out there, just turn us loose so we can find our mother goose. Okay, I wrecked my head over that. There is one more Edgar Guest poem that is just an old favorite because, you know, I never paid too much attention to whether or not my kids, even those grandkids, were listening to their moms. But I knew they should be listening to their dads. And Edgar Guest wrote a poem that says, foxes can talk if you know how to listen, because my pa said so. And owls have big eyes that sparkle and glisten, because my pa said so. And girls afraid of a snake, but boy, they ain't. They'll run, they'll holler, sometimes they'll faint. But boys would be ashamed to be acting that way, because my pa said so. Now you can think what you like, but I'll stick to it, because my pa said so. And I'll keep on saying again and again that my pa said so. Maybe foxes don't talk to such people as you, and maybe bears never show you the tricks they can do. But I know the things that I'm saying are true, because my pa said so. Thank you.
Land is selling at an all-time high. Backed by almost 4 decades of experience, Big Iron Missouri agents Justin Hubbs and Gage Saulbeamer provide you with a seamless selling experience. They will get your property sold via listing or unreserved online auction. Big Iron Realty has the experience you deserve, proven results, with an enormous viewing audience of buyers, creating higher selling prices. Let's have a conversation. Call Justin Hubbs or Gage Saulbeamer today.
Looking for a local place to buy fresh herbs for your tea? Stop by Magic Herbs in Salem at 109 West 4th Street, where you'll find a variety of jewelry, t-shirts, and candles. Ask about the membership club that gets you free entry into daily events and the ability to buy food from their kitchen. Club members can enjoy free Wi-Fi and coffee too. Call for all the details at 573-453-2221. Magic Herbs is open 7 days a week in downtown Salem.
Southwest Baptist University campus in Salem provides quality higher education close to home for residents of Dent County and the surrounding areas. The classes at SBU Salem campus are taught in the afternoon and evenings, making a degree attainable for people who are in the workforce or can't afford to go off to get a degree. We offer degrees in nursing, which is an RN Bridge program, elementary education. For more information on the degrees and programs, please contact admissions counselor Chris Welch to schedule an appointment as a prospective or returning student.
Salem Memorial District Hospital believes that our community deserves the very best healthcare one could offer. We understand that all physicians need the highest quality images to thoroughly treat each situation. With you in mind, Salem Memorial District Hospital has brought these services home, and that includes our new state-of-the-art MRI. Don't waste your time and money driving long distances. Let us take care of you here at home. Salem Memorial District Hospital. Every patient, every encounter, every time.
Thank you, Mike. All right, we heard a song, we read a book, we had a poem, a little action going there. That was good. Do you guys ever tell stories? Like I said, we do it every day, don't you? You tell Mom what you did at school today. Sometimes maybe you make up a little lie to stay out of trouble. It doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work when you make them up that way. But did you ever make up a story about superheroes or some animals that maybe you saw in your backyard? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about one of my superheroes, and her name is Lizzie. And it starts out the way all the best stories start. And what is that? How do all the best stories start? Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Lizzie. Lizzie had red hair and freckles, and she was the cutest kid in town. And she was also the happiest. You always knew when Lizzie was around because you could hear her laugh from miles away, miles and miles. And Libby loved to read. Her friends, you know what they called her? You know what they call somebody who reads a lot? A bookworm. They called Lizzie a bookworm. And do you think she cared? She didn't care. She liked to read books. If she was happy, she went to the library. If she was sad, she went to the library. If she was mad, where did she go? To the library. To the library. So you get that time, you get the idea. Lizzie loved to read. And every time she'd read, it would take her on an adventure. Once she was reading about the sun and the stars and the moon. And before you know it, there she was in a rocket ship. And she was blasting off into space. Did you ever have that happen when you're reading a book? Yeah? And you might. She was blasting off into space and it started to shake. And she was shaking like crazy. It was rattling her brains. And then it got really hot. And she started to sweat. She said, "It's getting really hot. We're going to open the window." So she opened the window of the rocket ship. And she stuck her head out to cool off. And you know how it does with the dog? What happens? Face down, pull back like that. Let me see you do it. When you stick your head out the window and you're going really fast, her face got all pulled back, and she just laughed and laughed and laughed. She thought that was funny. And then it stopped shaking. It wasn't so hot. And Lizzie just looked out the window, and you know what she saw? She saw the earth. It was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it was just a tiny little blue dot in a great big black sky. Well, Lizzie started getting hungry. What am I going to do? I don't have any lunch with me. I heard the moon was made of cheese. I wonder if that's true. So she steered her rocket ship to the moon, landed, and got out, and she heard a voice. Hello. Well, hello. I'm Lizzie. Who are you? What do you think he said?
The man in the moon.
I'm the man in the moon, of course. And Lizzie, oh, I should have known that. And she laughed and laughed. Well, Lizzie and the man in the moon, they got to talking and jabbering, and they talked a long time. What do you think they talked about? Cheese. They talked about cheese because, you know, the man in the moon made of cheese. And then they started calling each other silly names, and it was going fast and furious. And she called him something like stinky cheese toes. And he said, cheesy cracker breath. And she blurted out, chunky cheese head. She stopped. And the man in the moon just looked at her. She was afraid she insulted him because he is a chunky cheese head, right? He stopped and he looked at her and he made his best cheese face and looked at her. And they just laughed and laughed and laughed. What do you think a cheese face looks like? Let me see a cheese face. Show me a cheese face.
It's a face full of cheese.
A face full of cheese? You guys, show me your best cheese face. Is it like... I don't know. But the man in the moon must have had a good one because they laughed and laughed and laughed. And then before you know it, Lizzie heard her mother calling her, Lizzie, it's time for lunch. So Lizzie said, I'm going to have to go. And the man in the moon said, what are you having for lunch, Lizzie? She said, cheese sandwich, of course. And the two of them, they laughed and laughed. So Lizzie got in her rocket ship and flew back to the earth and got out and had her lunch and thought, wow, what a ride. And you know, one day, Lizzie was reading about the ocean. And before you knew it, there she was swimming in the deep water. And she saw starfish and whales and barracudas, and she met a mermaid even. Did you ever see a mermaid? I think that'd be pretty awesome to see a mermaid.
Yeah.
But then...
I have a mermaid toy.
You have a mermaid toy? Well, you've seen a mermaid then, right?
I got toys. Mama toys.
You do too?
Yeah,
and they're all at home, right? He's telling us a story now, right?
Exactly.
Can you tell us a story later? Some more?
Can you wait?
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let her finish her story.
Well, let me tell you what Lizzie met down there when she was swimming in the ocean. Swimming, and she met an octopus. And the octopus was named Octavius. Octavius the octopus. And they got to be really good friends. Well, Octavius, he wanted to see what was up there on the dry land. So Lizzie brought him home with her, of course. And she put him on her head and wore him like a hat. And she even took two of his arms and gently tied them under her chin, like a little bonnet. And they walked all over town. You should have seen the way people looked at him with an octopus on their head.
Yeah.
You know what they did? They laughed and laughed. It was the funniest thing. You know, Lizzie read every day, and she'd take adventures every day. She rode on a giraffe's head in Africa, and she waddled around with penguins in Antarctica, and she cuddled koalas in Australia. She ate bagels with Bigfoot. Back to Bigfoot, right? She ate bagels with Bigfoot. How's that for a cool adventure? And she had long talks with Polly the parrot down in South America, over tea and crackers, of course, because Polly likes crackers. And she even got to ride on a unicorn. What do you think the unicorn's name was? What's the unicorn's name? Rainbow? That's a good unicorn name. Unicorn named Rainbow. Lizzie had nibbled on kippers with Nessie too. You know Nessie, the Loch Ness monster, who happens to be very nice, by the way, and not a monster at all. Lizzie just had one adventure after another. She loved it, and she laughed and laughed. Well, at some point, Lizzie grew up, because we all grow up, right?
Yeah.
Lizzie grew up, and she became, okay, we get older, and taller, and slower, and some of us, you know, inside, we're still little kids trapped in an old body, and that's okay. Lizzie became a teacher, and she would read to her kids every day. And the kids loved her stories. She used to say, the most important thing my mother ever did was to read to me when I was a child, even before I was born. And I think that's probably true. What do you think? Reading is so important. Lizzie knew that. Well, all the kids loved Lizzie's stories, except one. Her name was McKenna. McKenna just didn't like to read, didn't care about the stories. And you know what? That made Lizzie really sad. So one day, Lizzie said, McKenna, come with me. And they went out and they walked into town and they stopped in front of a great big building. And McKenna said, where are we? She said, this is where the magic happens. McKenna looked. It's just a library. It's a bunch of books. I don't care. I don't like to read. I know, Kate, I'm sorry. It hurt her when I even said that, right? And McKenna said, I just don't like to read. Well, Lizzie took her hand and said, just come with me. And they took one step into the library. And McKenna looked around, her eyes got big. Wow! It's a castle! How did that happen? Lizzie said, magic. What'd she say? Magic. It there were big towers with colorful streamers, and there were butterflies, and there were rainbows across the sky. And there were snow-white horses with gold bridles, just like in all the picture books. It was a beautiful castle. And McKenna turned to look at Lizzie. She stopped. She was surprised. It's Mother Goose! How did that happen? And they both said, magic. What did they say? Magic. Where the magic is. So Lizzie got her favorite book off the shelf. She said, these books, they can take you anywhere. You can go to the Great Wall of China. All of a sudden, McKenna was there, and she saw it stretch out in front of her for miles. It can take you to Santa's workshop. Before you know it, Lizzie was there making toys with the elves. How cool is that? And Lizzie just said, Mother Goose said, magic. She took her favorite book off the shelf and started to read. All of a sudden, they were in the deep forest. Beautiful green forest with a great big crystal clear blue pool of water. Here comes a moose. The moose lumbered in, bent over, took a drink, and another drink, and another drink. So pond water started going down lower and lower. And what was McKenna doing this whole time? She was just bored. She didn't care. But Mother Goose knew what to do. I bet you guys could figure it out. She took her hands, she made moose antlers. She bent over the pond, and she took a drink. Not a dainty little sip, but a big drink. She bent over and did another drink. And the water in the pond went down and down. McKenna thought that was the funniest thing she ever saw. So what'd she do? She made her own moose antlers. You see your moose antlers? You see them? Bend over, take a big drink. And McKenna and Mother Goose just laughed and laughed and laughed. And guess what? From that point on, McKenna was hooked. She loved books, she loved to read, she loved to go to the library. Better, I made it up for you, okay? She loved to go to the library and read. And her friends, they started calling her a bookworm. Did she care? She didn't care because she would just smile at them like she knew a really special secret. And McKenna took adventures every day. She rode on the wings of eagles, and she talked with a T-Rex dinosaur, and she even went to the ocean and met Octavius. How cool is that? She just turned into the biggest bookworm you've ever known. She read every day. When McKenna grew up and she was going to have her own little girl, she used to read to her every day, even before she was born. When she'd get to the part, she'd put her hands up and make moose antlers, and she'd bend over her belly, and she'd go, what'd she do? Took a big drink. She's sure she could hear her unborn baby laugh and laugh. So what about you guys? What are you going to read? Who are you going to visit? Where are you going to go? Anywhere you want in the whole world you can go reading books. And you know who would love that the most of everybody? Lizzie would. Read a book, tell a story. If you have a good one, write it down, color the pictures. And we're going to do that over there in a little while. And just take adventures. And when you lay down in bed at night, close your eyes and just think, wow, what a ride. You can all do that. You know what else? It costs any money. It's free. It's something everybody can do. So remember, that would make Lizzie proud if you would do that. I want to take a minute and thank everybody here that came out to help and tell stories, and that came out to watch, and I hope you guys share some stories with us too. We are going to have one more up here, and then we're going to go out and do some other things. But first, I want to call your attention to the little library, the not-so-little library over there. In case you don't know what that is, you open up, you can take a book, put another book in. If you don't have one to trade, just take a book. It's okay. We'll make more. We'll get more books in there. So we want to make sure everybody gets to read. You don't have to have money to read. And I also want you guys, after you do some reading, write it down if you want. Send me an email. Come and tell me a story. Tell me where you went when you were reading and what adventures you had. Because that would make me and Lizzie and Libby and all of us happy to do that. I want to thank the people that helped get that little library together. Lots of people helped and contributed in many ways. Some got rooked into it, maybe not so willingly. We got a lot of things put together and got it up and going. I do want to acknowledge the Village Gallery here in Salem that makes some really beautiful cabinets and things. They put that together and donated it to the Bonebrake Center in honor of Libby Sanders and our Mother Goose. So we hope that you guys spread the word, tell people to come out and use it. I want to recognize Carl Williams, that's his business there in the Village Gallery. That included Steve and Angelina Conway and their team at Quality Machine to help get it real sturdy. Kurt Glore and Mark Hewitt made the detailed designs and got it put together and painted. And Mike Adams is the lead builder on this. And it's a pretty massive, impressive project. It took 3 guys to lift it out of the truck to the board. So that's a big little library there. So thank you to everybody for that.
Southtown Furniture. Southtown, where the bargains are. We've got everything from furniture to appliances. Quality floor covering. We won't be undersold, you'll see. To you, that is our guarantee. Southtown Furniture, where the bargains are.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Cameron Irway in Salem today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
With tax season fast approaching, you might have some questions that you need answered. If so, give the Tax Masters a call. They have over 40 years of experience and can handle all types of accounting services plus certified e-filing. Don't ever let yourself be a slave to the IRS. Come and see Jackie or Beth at Tax Masters located at 107 West 4th Street here in Salem, or call 729-3001.
Terrell Complete Auto Care is a full-service auto repair center in Salem. They offer full-service oil changes as well as $2 discounts on Tuesdays for all ladies, and Wednesday is Senior Citizen Day. Plus, Terrell Complete Auto Care can take care of all your auto and diesel repair needs. They offer free pickup and delivery in town. James and Sheena and the staff of Terrell Complete Auto Care are proud to support the Salem Tigers.
When I meet a new loan customer, I try to drop everything that I was working on prior to them coming in my office and focus directly on what their needs are at the time, whether it be a new car, their first house. I focus directly on what they are telling me and what they are needing. And it doesn't matter if it's a small $1,000 loan or a $200,000 house. I try to treat every client the same.
Now we're in for a special treat. Are you ready? We are going to have the comedy stylings of Mike Twain and Bill O'Donnell, along with Zane and Orion massing there, and we're going to do our plan B for a shadow puppet and just do puppets. So we're going to do that up here. Got my tellers ready to go. Okay, you guys got your puppets?
We need our puppeteers.
Get the puppets. I see pond. That's cool. Alright, when you guys are ready, go for it.
Janet alluded to the story of the thirsty moose. And she told us we didn't need to memorize it, that in fact we could read. And since we both can read, we Bill, you can't read. Bill? Okay, y'all just hang with us.
Make it up.
It was a bright and sunny day, and sounds of the forest filled the air.
Like what?
Like birds singing, you know. Yeah, like that. And frogs croaking, you know. Yeah, I'd say. And flies buzzing.
They're very quiet flies.
No, they're noisy flies. That's how I can hear them. Yeah, very good. Yeah, like that. A crystal clear pool of water sparkled in the sun. The water is what kept all of the animals alive until one day he came.
Who? Who came?
The moose.
Oh, never saw a moose before?
Not like this one.
Well, you have two heads or what?
No, they were big. I had a big moose. Oh,
How big can he be?
that's not the biggest moose you've ever seen.
Oh, okay. So what do you do?
Well, the moose came out of the trees, walked over to the pond, and just as we were told earlier, he bent down to take a big drink.
You mean like?
No, I mean like.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yeah, something like that. The moose took a big drink, and another, yeah, like that. And the water in the pond went down and down and down.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
That's not good. It is not. The forest animals, they all got nervous. They had never seen such a thirsty moose.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were all talking about it. They say, there he goes again.
He's still drinking?
He's going to drink the pond dry.
Oh, my.
What are we going to do?
Stop him.
Meanwhile, the pond got lower and lower, and the animals didn't know what to do. But the fly had an idea. I can get rid of that moose. The other animals laughed. You, Freddy, what can a tiny little fly like you do with a big moose like that? Shoo, fly! Freddy buzzed around some more. Guys, listen to me, I can do this! The animals just ignored him. I'll show them. Freddy flew up and looked at my moose right in the eyes and said, hey, moose, quit drinking our water. Go away!
Did that work?
Yeah. Of course, the moose just ignored him and drank some more. Freddy flew in the moose's big ear and buzzed. Moose, get out of here!
So then the moose left, right?
The moose just shook his head since Freddy flying, and all the animals laughed. That made Freddy really mad. So he flew high. High, can you all point high? High, yes. He pointed high. And he flew up high in the sky, and everyone thought he was running away. Not a chicken fly. He was not. Until Freddy came zooming down as fast as he could go.
How fast?
I mean, like really fast. He zoomed right down on that moose.
Yeah?
And landed on his bottom.
Yeah?
And bit him really hard in the buttock. Ouch! Well, that moose threw up his head, jumped up in the air, and took off running. And he was never seen in these woods again.
Woo-hoo! Way to go, Freddy!
Yeah! Now, as y'all are roaming around looking at all these things, I would like to challenge you to look at things a little differently. I heard a story once about a tadpole, and and he was swimming around the pond and hanging out with his fish buddies and all the crawdads and all them cool things. But then he morphed into a frog. So he went out into the world, looked around, and he came back to the pond, and he was talking to his fish buddy, and he said, well, what goes on out there? And he said, well, people are just walking around. And because he only had the pond and his life in the pond and knowing fish and crawdads and those kind of things, that was the only reference point he had. So he pictured all of us putting our legs together, getting around on our fins, and moving around. His perspective was different. And as you move around today, I ask you to try to make your perspective just a tiny bit different. Thank you.
I knew that would be unique. No practice needed for that, right? I have a feeling you will be seeing more of those two in the future. Working together. And I think if Libby had seen that, she would have laughed and laughed. What do you think? I think she would have. Well, we're going to give you time to get up, stretch your legs. I hope you share.